The villagers, unaware of the impending doom, carried on with their lives, but nature knew, oh how it knew, that the night would not belong to humans. As the first star blinked into existence, a strange rustling came from the edge of the forest. The villagers paused, ears straining to catch the sound that sent chills down their spines. The night animals, usually timid and afraid, began to emerge, but they were different now. Bolder, their eyes glowing with an eerie light. They moved in unison, a silent army of creatures whose intentions were shrouded in darkness. The first to notice was the village elder, his face creased with age and wisdom. He had seen many things in his long life, but nothing like this. The animals were gathering, coming closer to the village, their numbers growing with each passing moment. They were not alone. Shadows moved among them, shapes that were not entirely animal, nor entirely human. The elder's heart pounded as he realized what was happening. The stories of old, the ones whispered by firelight, were true. The night animals were rising, claiming the land that had once belonged to them. Long before humans, this land had been theirs, and now they were back to reclaim it. But why now? Why this night? The elder knew he had to warn the others, but his voice seemed trapped in his throat, as if the very air had thickened with dread. The night animals were getting closer, their eyes locking onto the village with a malevolent hunger. The first scream pierced the night as a villager stumbled out of his home, eyes wide with terror. He had seen them, seen the creatures that should not exist, beings from nightmares long forgotten. The villagers began to panic, rushing into their homes, barricading doors and windows, but deep down, they knew it would not be enough. The elder, gathering his strength, called for the villagers to gather in the center of the village. His voice, though shaky, carried an urgency that could not be ignored. They needed to stay together, to face whatever was coming as one. But the night was growing darker, and with it, the courage of the villagers began to wane. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled, as if the earth itself was shuddering in fear. From the darkness, a figure emerged, a creature of the night, larger and more terrifying than any they had ever seen. It moved with a grace that belied its size, eyes glowing with an intelligence that was all too human. The villagers gasped, some falling to their knees in despair. This was not just an animal, it was a force of nature, a being of ancient power. The elder stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. He knew this creature, not from sight, but from the stories passed down through generations. It was the leader of the night animals, the one who had been wronged by humans long ago. The leader of the night animals stared at the elder, its eyes unreadable. The village was silent, the tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. Time seemed to stretch as the creature made its decision, its gaze never leaving the elder. Then, with a slow, deliberate movement, the creature bowed its head. The night animals, though still wary, began to retreat, their glowing eyes fading into the darkness. The smaller creature snarled in frustration but followed its leader, vanishing into the night. The villagers, still trembling, watched in disbelief as the night animals disappeared. The elder, exhausted but relieved, sank to his knees, his heart heavy with the knowledge of what had almost happened. The night was far from over, but the immediate danger had passed. The villagers, though shaken, began to emerge from their homes, gathering around the elder. They knew they had been given a second chance, but at a great cost. The elder spoke to them, his voice filled with the weight of what they had just witnessed. He told them that the land was not theirs to take, that they must learn to live in harmony with nature, to respect the creatures that had lived there long before them. They had been spared, but only because of the elder's courage and the hope of a better future. As dawn broke, the village was silent, the fear of the night still lingering in the air. But with the light came a new understanding, a resolve to change, to make amends for the past. The villagers knew that the night animals would be watching, waiting, but they also knew that they had the power to create. The creature spoke, its voice a low growl that echoed through the village. It told of a time when the animals ruled the land, when humans were but a whisper in the wind. But then, the humans had come, taking the land, driving the animals into the shadows. The creature had waited, biding its time, gathering its strength, and now it was time for the animals to take back what was theirs. The villagers trembled, But the elder, though terrified, stood his ground. He spoke of the harmony that once existed between man and nature, of the respect that had been lost but could be regained. He begged the creature to give them a chance to make things right, to live together as they once had. The creature paused, its glowing eyes narrowing as it considered the elder's words. The night animals around it seemed to hold their breath, waiting for their leader's command. But then, from the darkness, a howl rang out, a cry of defiance, of anger. Another creature, smaller but no less terrifying, stepped forward, challenging the elder's plea. It snarled, accusing the humans of deceit, of betrayal. It would not be swayed by words. It wanted blood, revenge for the years of suffering and hiding. The night animals roared in agreement, their eyes filled with rage. The villagers cowered, knowing that this might be the end. But the elder, summoning every ounce of courage, refused to back down. He spoke of a future where humans and animals could live in peace, where the land could be shared, not taken. He offered himself as a sacrifice, a gesture of goodwill if it meant saving his people. A world where both man and beast could live in peace. And so, the tale of the night animals became a story passed down through generations, a warning and a lesson. It was a reminder that the balance between man and nature was fragile, that respect and harmony were the keys to survival. The villagers learned that true strength came not from domination, but from understanding, from the willingness to coexist. As the story comes to a close, remember this lesson. We are all part of the same world, and it is our responsibility to protect and cherish it. Like and share this video if you believe in the power of unity, in the hope of a future where all beings can live in harmony. And with that, the tale ends, but its message lives on, echoing through the generations like the whispers of the ancient forest.